Well, what's going on, gang?
Welcome back to Women Carry Knives.
Or a therapeutic edge. Hey, no
No.
comments from the peanut gallery.
Women Carry Knives.
I have something on the table that makes me happy as a collector. It is a big chunk of kind of 80s ridiculousness. This is the Buck 184 Buckmaster. For those of you that were alive in the 80s, you will recognize this knife. For those of you that weren't, this is what a survival knife kind of looked like in the early to mid 80s. Nowadays, they look a lot more like basically a camp knife, or a field knife, but this was definitively what was happening back there at the time. I had an imitation of this when I was about 10 or 11, and it's one of those knives that when I lost it or whatever happened to it when I was a kid, I never stopped thinking about it. And so recently, when a friend of mine came across this, he's a knife reseller, I guess, is kind of what he does. He reached out to me and said, "Well, look what I've got." And I said, "Yeah, okay. I'll take that." So I traded him a bunch of stuff and brought this home. These were, in fact, designed under the sort of impetus of the U.S. Navy and Navy SEALs back in the 80s. 2,500 of them were given to the military. After that, they became sort of synonymous with the Rambo knife movement of the 80s. It is not anything that we would consider to be realistic even in today's world. We know now that a knife needs to be certain things to really be a useful and long-lived survival tool, but this is where their heads were at back then, and I'm just glad that I have one in the collection. Before we take it out of the sheath, let's take a look at what you get. It is 425M stainless steel, which is in the 420 stainless family. These are, in fact, designed to sort of grapple, not necessarily in the air, but underwater, is what I have read. The sheath comes with a sharpening stone, which is still here in this one. You guys can't feel this, but this old webbing, this old nylon webbing is dry and kind of crusty. These are removable. I'll show you that in a minute. The handle on this thing, you know what? Let's just take it out of there, shall we? The sheath has got metal on the inside to keep it from rattling or to keep it from moving around too much. Of course, has multiple tie-down points, so you can strap it onto your webbing and gear in any number of ways. This is a thigh designed so you tie it around your thigh so it doesn't flop. It's hilarious and terrifying and awesome all at the same time. These spikes actually didn't come with the knife. Unfortunately, I had to go onto eBay and I found a spare set and ordered them. I did try to clean this up a little bit, but it's 40 years old, so this is what you get. These come off. Now, on my old imitation of this thing, the angle of the handguard was such that you could actually put them on this way as well, but that's not true here. They run into... Oh, maybe you can. Yeah, you could thread that one on, but this one doesn't. It just won't go. Oh, maybe. Nope. But you can leave this one on as kind of a hand guard if you wanted, in case you wanted to get into any sword fights. The handle. If this was one solid piece of that 425M steel, that would be one thing. But because of movies like Rambo and the idea behind it, this is hollow. And for those of you that know what this is, none of this is going to be new, right? I actually put some stuff in there to keep it from rattling. But it comes with a little kit, and these used to come with a little wire saw and matches and whatever else you want to put in there. As you can see, it's just hollow. Yep, just hollow. They were very proud of that. They were very proud of the fact that it's got these big rubber gaskets on it to keep it watertight. Ideally, under survival circumstances. You could take this thing apart and get to your matches and get to your field kit that was in there. If you loosen this just a hair, this becomes a swivel, and then with these on there, and I think probably with it in the sheath, because you wouldn't want to just throw that up into the air, you could throw this and use it as a grapple, which is just brilliant and ridiculous. It is serrated for rope cutting. It is serrated for everything else cutting. It is hollow ground, and it weighs about 2 pounds. I mean, come on. Okay, let's take a look at what you get. If I line that up, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1/4 inches of cutting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 inches of blade. The grip is 4 full inches, not including the little end cap there. I'm going to take this off. This one has the patent on it. Now, apparently the first generation of these didn't have this, but somewhere in the mid-80s, 84, 85, they started putting the patent on there. And, of course, it shouts Buckmaster at you. It's...
I'm sorry.
I know, right? Carrie Knives is over here laughing. There is a version of me that is about 9 years old that is really happy this thing lives in my house now.
Don't get me wrong, that thing's pretty fucking cool.
Right?
I mean, it is stupid fun.
Look, you just had to be alive at the time. Rambo and Rambo knives were a real thing.
Oh,
there were a million clones of this, but this is a real one. Now, if you go onto eBay, you will see these things. The asking is around $700. I did not even trade at that value for it. My buddy traded me at the value he got it at. It's probably about $300 worth of stuff. Is it worth that? Absolutely not. Is it worth that to someone who had one or a version of one as a kid and is happy to have one back in the collection? Yeah, totally. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They actually made a version 2.0 of this. That was a dive knife. And those are going for like $900 now because they only made them for a little while because it didn't go anywhere. Nobody cared. It actually came with a tang guard that you could push through the blade. It was a grappling. Anyway, these are just ridiculous. But I will tell you what I do know. It is very satisfying to hold this knife.
It's heavy.
It is heavy. I mean, what are we looking at here? Are we zeroed? Yeah, we are zeroed. 290 thousandths of an inch, or in other language, 7.33 millimeters of this blade steel. I wonder how much it weighs. Let's find out.
5 pounds. The thing's heavy.
It is heavy. I don't think it's 5 pounds, but...
No, it's just kind of funny.
Let's see. It weighs 1 pound, 7 ounces. Just in case your survival kit needed an extra pound of steel. I'm trying to think of what this thing reminds me of. And recently I got a hold of one of the first generation Benchmade Adamist fixed blades. I mean, you can see the family lineage, right? The same wicked serration, but this is considerably more actual survival useful, right? It is a Siebert design, it's D2. It actually doesn't come with these scales. Somebody added these. It's just a more useful knife all the way around, right? This one is a little stabbier than I usually get into for fixies, but you can see, right? Even this is only 10 years old, right? So this is 30 years younger than this. 8 years old. 35 years younger than this. And yet still, right, the wicked serrations, this definitively speaks to where, like, sort of combat or tactical knives went. But this was kind of the progenitor, right? This was early on. This was a company named Phobos, Phoibis, Phobis, who actually designed the M9 bayonet that everyone hated. But if you look at the blade on the M9 bayonet, that's it. So Buck and Phobos worked together to design this thing for Navy SEALs. And I have to ask, did they hate the Navy SEALs? I mean, if you are dropped off in the middle of nowhere and this is the only knife you have, you're going to do really well. But on the other hand, something like this weighs a third of what this does and will do pretty much everything the same, except, of course, be a grappling hook. Whatever. This is cool because of what it is. 425M stainless steel is what was used on knives. 420 HC steel was buck knife standard, back in the 80s, and in fact still is on many of their knives. It was just an entirely different world. Anyway, this is a permanent part of my collection now. One of these days, I'm going to build a knife wall. I'm going to have a place where I can put some of my more interesting and ridiculous stuff up. And this is going to go on that wall with a certain amount of absurd pride, because I never thought I would see another one in person, and I certainly never thought I would get one. But here it is. I have a question for those of you that are still watching. How many of you had this or some version of it when you were a kid? Let me know down in the comments below. I really appreciate your time today. This is the Buck 184 Buckmaster survival knife. Buckmaster. It is... You know what it is? It's really cool to have this because it shows how far knife and knife technology has come. You can, for $80. In fact, hold on a minute. For $80, sorry, there was a pause there. You probably couldn't see it, but you can go on Amazon right now and get one of these. This is a Sativian. For those of you that have been following my channel for a while, they make budget folding knives. I haven't reviewed this yet, but I'm going to. This is the Sativian ST22, and this is in 154 cm steel. This is infinitely more useful as a survival tool based on modern ideals than this is, right? It has a thick enough blade that you can baton it very easily without destroying your baton. It's got a tall, flat grind. It's got a choil forward, so you can feather stick with it really easily. The handle is shaped in such a way that it gives you a little more power in the swing. It's G10. $80. This was $300 or $400 back in the 80s. We have come a long way. Metal Complex recently said that we are living in both the most boring and the most amazing knife time ever, and he's not wrong. You can get so much knife for next to no money. You can also, spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars and get, fancy stuff if you want, but you can get a lot of knife in phenomenal materials for not a lot of money now, and that just wasn't the case 40 years ago. So stuff like this made headlines. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. This is, again, the Buck 184 Buckmaster. How long is this thing total from tip to tail? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half inches. That's a big boy. That's a big boy.
I have no comment.
Sometimes I say things just to make her laugh. Anyway, the 80s kid in me that is playing, Red Dawn or Rambo is super happy this thing lives in the house now. I appreciate your time. Hope you've enjoyed this look at a bit of history. I know I'm enjoying owning it. If you guys have any questions about this or even that, feel free to ask down in the comments below. And again, if you owned one of these, let me know. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.